Since the 1920s, discriminatory practices like redlining have marginalized BIPOC communities across the U.S., particularly in cities like Los Angeles. Today, these communities grapple with low wages, limited growth prospects, heightened crime, and subpar public transit, which together culminate in an overall diminished quality of life in BIPOC neighborhoods when compared to predominantly white areas.
The topic on many California voters' minds is the state's housing crisis.
Another Skid Row, that is something the neighbors here do not say lightly.
Los Angeles County faces a pressing housing gap, deeply impacting BIPOC communities long neglected by both the public and private sectors.
The County of Los Angeles needs over 800,000 units of housing. So over the past 3 decades, that number has grown. And most of the areas where the opportunity exists is in the underserved communities that do not have the density, especially around the transit stations.
The Accelerated Wealth and Transit Development Project stands as a transformative initiative combating this disparity by channeling federal resources and private equity into these underserved communities throughout the county.
So the Accelerated Wealth and Transit Development Project was designed to create accelerated wealth in families by utilizing existing single-family homeowners to convert their house into a courtyard fourplex. The transit development comes in that we're targeting housing and communities around the metro stations where the light rail exists.
AHTD champions affordable housing for BIPOC communities by upgrading transit infrastructure, enhancing utility capacities, updating streets and public spaces, and boosting home ownership, all working to drive wealth building in Black and brown areas. Anchored around key transit corridors spanning 3 counties and 4 congressional districts, AHTD targets revitalization within a half-mile radius of 24 specific LA metro stations, forging pathways for sustainable communities and lasting wealth.
This way, you make the community sort of self-sustaining. You improve a half-mile radius with new sidewalks, walkability, safety around transit stations that make the communities vibrant.
As a proof of concept, consider the LADWP pole yard at Slauson Avenue.
Okay, so the Miramonte Yard represents a site to start the proof of concept. This site is 9 acres, and the objective is to relocate this to a better location that allows the transit station to make a better connection to the community.
The metro station, built in 1990, craves modern features and care, which affect the quality of daily commutes of LA's underserved sectors.
So the connectivity between the pedestrian experience up to the transit station is very hard. There's no sidewalks across from one side to the other, and there's no soft environments such as a park below the transit corridor. All that has an impact on the quality of life and how people will consider investing into the community.
Beside it, an untapped expansive lot, yet to reflect the area's lively spirit. With AHTD, this changes. Relocating the LADWP pole yard a mere 6 blocks sparks the area's renaissance.
Developing this into approximately 535 units of rental housing frees up the site to start to transform this entire community.
This shift makes way for diverse housing and chic retail and commercial spaces reminiscent of Culver City's Cumulus District or Playa Vista's Runway.
We're at National and Washington Boulevard in Culver City. This is an example of how you make a green space below the metro line. It also has the Shea Hotel, the Apple headquarters, along with mixed-use development and a grocery store. And you have a nice green space that makes people want to be connected to the community, but also makes them want to make use of the transit station. And this is the environment we want to create below all metro stations in Los Angeles.
The Slauson Metro's facelift ensures upgraded commutes, while a revamped Augustus Hawkins Park offers family-friendly green spaces.
And so the goal is to make a better connection between this park and these residential houses.
Around the Slauson station, modern fourplexes emerge, turning Mom's House into profitable multi-unit properties.
By remodeling Mom's house into a courtyard fourplex, Mom has a house plus 3 income units that she can rent to her children and her grandchildren, and that starts to create a path for generational wealth.
This strategy fights historic bias in BIPOC areas, promoting diverse income sources and facilitating affordable loans. AHTD reimagines ownership, reserves spaces for those in need, and paves the path for generational prosperity among Black and brown families. A global think tank's analysis highlights AWTD's transformative potential for LA, addressing housing shortages and amplifying BIPOC wealth building.
So their study validated that the equation will work, that by the time the county has to start paying back the funds that are borrowed in 2040, they would have earned about $60 to $75 billion in new property tax revenues.
Revamped transit corridors will become bustling 15-minute walkable hubs, boosting metro ridership by 400,000 annually and reducing CO2 emissions by 790 million pounds per year.
They would make about $800 million a year in sales taxes, which would help entities like LA Metro. Minority businesses would get about $15 billion over 10 years.
And increase school funding by up to $2.5 billion annually.
So it's a way of how do we make a deal that works towards LA County's interests, that benefits everyone.
Plus, 500,000 new jobs are on the horizon. AWTD isn't just a local investment. It reshapes LA's broader landscape. The Slauson Metro Station proof of concept represents the transformation of just one transit-centered neighborhood. But the expansion of AWTD to the other 23 metro sites will expedite solutions that enhance economic empowerment and equity.
Los Angeles has a unique opportunity to tell a story of uniting around one project that fixes a lot of problems. Accelerated wealth and transit development creates that ask. It benefits the county by getting new revenues. It benefits the utility companies by getting infrastructure that they can't do themselves. And I think that's going to be a huge missed opportunity if we don't do this now.
With a broad aim to promote public transportation use ahead of the 2028 Olympic Games, this sustainable strategy not only supports LA's immediate needs, but also paves the way for building wealth that can lay the foundation for long-term financial security for Black and brown families across Los Angeles for future generations.